talking about comparing yourself to others. Now, I'm going to give you some examples to start off with, just to make it a little bit more easier to see. So I'm going to give you myself on one side and Jess, who's going to be my other option on the other side. Now, let's say we both started the gym at the same time, which we didn't. We definitely did not. But let's just use it as an example, and we'll base my history and her history with sport, fitness, genetics, etc., into how we're going to be, I guess, better than each other at specific stuff. So here we go. So we're looking to look at three main topics when you compare yourself to other people. And these are the things you have to take in mind and keep into consideration at why someone is progressing faster than you are. So I'm going to give you some examples, guys, on exactly how this one works. I'm going to compare myself to Jess and give you a clear example of why you shouldn't compare yourself to other people, why it's a negative thing to do, and why it will actually make you regress more than it will make you progress. So hopefully you enjoy the video, guys. Hit subscribe if we do like it, like the video. Let's get into it. So with comparing yourself to other people, it happens all the time. I hear a lot of people, members, friends, family members, comparing themselves to someone else who they started at a similar or around the same time as their CrossFit or their fitness journey, and they're exceeding more than you are. So we're gonna break it down into three topics, and I'm gonna use Jess and myself as a comparison. So let's start off with foundation. So foundation being the first topic you're gonna talk about. So when you ask foundation, you ask, what is my foundation or background in health and fitness? So a couple of things you look at: previous sports you've played, fitness activities, outside activities that you have done on a regular basis, and then finally any skills or tricks that you've picked up from those specific sports that will help you in the sport you're currently doing. So for me personally, I have a background in AFL, rugby league, and rugby union. I've played most of those sports throughout my life at some point, mainly AFL being the stepping stone, the main part of my sport. So for AFL, I played that from when I was about 11 years old till about 20. So that's about 9 years of AFL training. In that time, I would have ran well over 1,000 kilometers, done all this different skills sports, team building stuff, etc. So my conditioning, my monostructural conditioning will generally be higher than the average person. Now we look at someone like Jess. She never played sport, never really went outside. She spent most of her time doing art and crafts and that kind of thing. So for her, she's never had that base foundation to build from to be able to become better. So already I have a 1 point advantage over Jess. I have a previous background that I can grab, and thing with like muscle memory is your body picks up on a lot of those old things it used to do a lot quicker than someone else who's never done it before. Part two, guys, we want to look at genetics. Genetics does play a big role in fitness, sport, training, etc., background, all that kind of thing. So it's more so what you're going to look at is what your parents or your grandparents used to do when they were younger, or when they played sport, or what they're currently doing now, and how it's going to benefit you, or how it's going to obviously not benefit you moving into your current sport. So for me, my mum and my dad were both weightlifters, tennis players. They did a multitude of sport, karate, rugby, etc. So I do have a very athletic background, and a lot of my family members, more on my mum's side, were big into gym, weightlifting, etc. So that's why I do tend to have better physical genetics than some other people, the average person, like chest size. I sound like I'm bragging about myself, but this is just an example, guys, all right? So relax. So I definitely have better genetics. I definitely have better stimulus towards things like bodybuilding training, and I put on muscle pretty easily. Someone like Jess, though, her genetics is tan skin, being Asian, of Asian complexion, great mobility, which is actually something that's really good. They do have great mobility, and especially her dad being Asian, which is not racist. She just has great natural mobility. And that's essentially probably the most of it. I mean, her dad's a pretty physical dude, but they didn't really play too many sports. So good genetics as far as skin tone, Instagram kind of stuff, and mobility, which will play off in things like, Olympic weightlifting. She picks up a lot of that stuff really easily. She's able to get into those positions a lot easier than myself, who has no mobility. So that's part two. Topic number three you have to look at is commitment. Commitment being the main one. How committed are you to your training? How committed are you to your stretching, mobility, to your recovery? Basically, how much do you make fitness your life? So for me, it is everything that revolves around fitness is my life. So training, fitness, like recovery, nutrition, everything. That's super important to me. Sleep, all that kind of stuff. And I've obviously been nailing it to a T. And even Jess as well. She's also very good at that kind of stuff. We kind of, bump off each other quite a little bit. Yes, she does have a little bit less willpower than I do, but that's just from years of experience from my side of things. So we do both have great foundations. So if you look at those kind of things, you can already see down the list, there is a few differences and a few things that I'm gonna personally pick up better than she is, and vice versa. She'll get into an overhead squat easier than I will. So when you compare yourself to other people, you've got to think almost like, what have they done that's made them into that position? Which is why when people are like, why are they better than me? Think about their foundation. Think about their genetics. Think about their commitment to their training. Are you matching all those three things? It just might be that you won't be the strongest person ever, but you'll be great at cardio. You'll pick up cardio easy. So this is today's video's topic. So firstly, never compare yourself to anyone. And secondly, think about your foundation. Even if you have no foundation, there's always gonna be something you're good at. Everyone is always good at something. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hope you got something from this one. Like the content if you did. Stay at ease.